project that is right here in a historic building. And in fact, our Department of Arts and Culture offices and our Culture Commons gallery are located in Plaza de Armas. So we're excited to see what you have to say and your feedback on this project so that we are going to be, really beneficiaries as well as the community so that we can see this mural at any point when we come to work and we come to serve our community. So again, thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Jordan to get us started.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And we do have a survey opportunity as well, which we will talk about throughout this presentation. Links to that survey will be posted in the chat and it will be made available following the event. But really, to get our evening started, I would like to introduce District 1 Councilman Mario Bravo, who will share a few words on the project. Councilman?
Thank you, Jordan. I'm really excited about another public art project. So I want to thank the Department of Arts and Culture for hosting this event. Want to encourage everybody to give input on what you think this project should look like at Plaza de Armas, which has played multiple roles throughout history. One of the things I always grew up hearing about was the avocado tree that they had at the Spanish governor's palace, which unfortunately it wasn't a complete loss, but we lost part of it there from the last winter freeze. The Spanish governor's palace and the Plaza de Armas have played multiple roles. It's right in the heart of downtown, and I'm excited about activating this space even more, bringing more culture and art to the downtown community. And so look forward to hearing everybody's input. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you so much for being here tonight. All right, so again, my name is Jordan Petrius, and I am the Public Art Project Manager for this project. And throughout tonight's presentation, you will be able to send us your questions and provide input by clicking on the chat icon at the bottom of your screen. To submit questions, please use the chat and make sure to scroll to everyone so that we can all see your question and respond. We will do our best to respond to your questions before the end of this meeting. If we do not address your questions at this time, we will follow up afterwards. And we do want to remind everybody that this chat is part of public record and it is recorded and open to everyone. And we do hope that you use the Essay Speak Up guiding principles for conversation that is meaningful, transparent, respectful, and inclusive, and that you refrain from using profanity. Throughout tonight's presentation, we are going to look at our public art process, provide a project overview, provide some examples, give you a timeline, and finally, we will end with an input portion where we will have a discussion and you can ask any questions. So first, for those of you who are not familiar with what public art is, the Department of Arts and Culture defines public art as art that is in a public place that has been through an engagement process to determine three things: where the art will be placed, who the artist will be, and what the inspiration or themes for the art will be. Every project is approved by our San Antonio Arts Commission, is managed by a public art project manager like myself, and is usually paid with public funds. These funds come from the 1% allocated from the Transportation and Capital Improvement Bond, and they are used to implement public art projects according to our public art plan. We are currently developing public art projects for our 2017 through 2022 bond program, but be on the lookout as we are getting close to starting that new 2022 program. As you can see, we have a very extensive process for each project. So every public art project that our department does goes through a rigorous process that includes stakeholder and community engagement approvals for locations and designs from our Public Art Committee and Arts Commission, all before moving into fabrication and installation. We celebrate the completion of each project with a dedication ceremony that is open to everyone. I've emphasized the critical steps in the process with an oval shape that illustrate the checkpoints in which we seek community and stakeholder participation. And participation at these steps really helps shape the result of the public art project. As you can see, we are at the community engagement step to determine the theme. Feedback at this step is critical in getting the design started. We could not move forward without you. So again, we are so grateful that you have joined us tonight. As you can see, there are several other steps in the process after this stage in which the community is involved. At the end of this presentation, we will have the discussion portion, and there are some questions that we would like you to consider throughout the presentation. We will show this slide again at the end, and you do not have to wait until the end to ask your question. However, please note that I will not answer it until the end. Some of the questions that we hope you will think about throughout this presentation is: what aspects are you most interested in seeing? Did any of these historic images speak to you? How can this mural show the history of Plaza de Armas to people seeing the building for the first time? And is there anything else that we should know? So this project is part of the bond project, and it is tied to the 2017 bond, and it uses drainage funding. It's one of several projects in the area. It's going to be on the west-facing wall overlooking San Pedro Creek. So we're looking at this red square, and that is going to be the entire mural. So it's going to be a smaller mural, about 15 feet tall by 20 feet wide, and it is located on an addition to the historic building that was created in around 2012, 2013, and it is a stucco wall, so the historic brick facade will not be impacted by our mural in any way. To give you a little bit of a better idea of where this project is located, it's off of Dolorosa Street, and it's facing over the San Pedro Creek, and it's where this yellow star is. So the address is 115 Plaza de Armas, and currently the building is home to several city departments, including our very own Department of Arts and Culture. It's also home to our gallery space, as Crystal had mentioned. The plaza space itself also includes the Spanish Governor's Palace and City Hall, where you will often find our councilmen hard at work. Next to the area is UTSA and the San Pedro Creek Culture Park. Now that I've explained some of the current uses of the building, I am going to discuss the space's exciting past. Plaza de Armas is an area with a very long history, and I would like to take a moment to discuss the information that is found in the historic marker that was placed there in 1972. The plaza is comprised of several buildings, including the Spanish Governor's Palace and the courthouse. Plaza de Armas, or Military Plaza, and I will refer to both names throughout this presentation as that's what the historic photos call it, was home to a famous Spanish fort called the San Antonio de Bejar Presidio. This fort was established in 1722 as a parade ground and market square for Spanish soldiers stationed there and nearby homes for military settlers called presidales and their families. The site remained an important military location for many years. After 1850, the plaza became a bustling civilian marketplace and seat of government. And the mural is placed on a building that is connected to the Spanish Governor's Palace. And then once again, that space is used as a gallery space and hosts city departments, including our own. And the photograph that you can see on this slide is from 1888, and it shows the west side of the plaza. And all of the photographs that I will show throughout this presentation are courtesy of UTSA. The next image that we can see shows wagons loaded with hay on the northeast corner of the plaza from 1883. And then the open air market on the plaza on the south side from 1883 as well. On this slide, you can see a photograph of people eating breakfast at the chili stands on the south side of the plaza in 1885. And then the second image shows wagons loaded with produce and covered. And you can see the San Fernando Cathedral. And it's likely taken from the courtroom from the northwest corner from 1884. So as you can see, and as these photographs have illustrated, the space does have a very long history. And because of that, we have suggested some potential themes that this mural could have and that you, the community, might be interested in seeing. These themes include the military history of Plaza de Armas, including the military settlers, presidales, and their families, Plaza de Armas' use as a bustling market and commercial center, the current uses of the building, what do the occupants do, and additionally, we are offering a fourth option for other. Is there anything that you would like to see that we did not suggest? So I'm now going to show you a couple examples of historic inspired murals to help you get an idea of what this mural could look like. Please note that these are examples of murals that already exist in other places, and they are not concepts of what the mural will actually look like. So the first murals that I have for you are a set of mini murals that are part of a historic mural alley in Laramie, Wyoming. As you can see, they are incorporated into the building's facade, so much of that brick remains. And I do want you to know that these murals are much smaller than the mural that we will be creating are, but I did want to show how they do interact with the building, and they are illustrative of a single moment in history. So the first mural that we have here by Colleen Friday and Adrienne Vetter is called Sherman Sage from 2015, and it depicts Sherman Sage, a famous Arapaho warrior who fought in the famous Battle of the Little Bighorn against General Custer. He's widely known as being one of the most interviewed Native Americans of the Old West. The second mural I have is from Tara Collier called Cowgirls from 2016. And this depicts 7 cowgirls who participated in Cheyenne Frontier Days, a famous rodeo in Cheyenne, Wyoming, from 1922 to 1930s. And they were mostly Texas and Oklahoma based, and they were inducted into the National Cowgirl Hall of Fame. So the next murals that I have for you are from Philadelphia. So similar to the last set of examples, these both have great spatial interaction in the way that they interact with the area in which they're placed or the building in which they are placed. The first one from Matt Helm called Timeline 23 is from 2020. And this incorporates historical elements from the local transportation systems that is melding with themes of diversity, revitalization, and the evolution of the neighborhood and the civil rights movement. He created an abstract timeline that honors the themes of the community, specifically of the historic nature of the neighborhood from the civil rights to today. The second mural from Eric Okeda is the history of the Philadelphia Fire Department from 2019. And this honors and celebrates the Philadelphia Fire Department and its several hundred-year evolution from its early beginnings as a volunteer organization, co-founded by Benjamin Franklin in 1736. And it shows important moments in the fire department's history, including the original horse-drawn wagons, the move to modern technology, and then specific moments of triumph and tragedy and how public safety has transformed in Philadelphia. So again, these are just examples to help showcase what a historic inspired mural could look like. They are not an actual concept design. And again, as a reminder, this meeting does have an accompanying survey, and we really hope that you fill that out and show us what theme you are interested in. So to give you a timeline for the project, we began the project research and scoping in October of 2021. We are doing our community engagement now in March of 2022. We are looking at having a final design in September of 2022 and having the mural installed and dedicated in October of 2022. So I'm now going to leave this slide up to allow for some discussion and the opportunity for questions and input. So I will leave this on the screen for the next 2 minutes to allow people to type in their questions. And please note that if you are calling in on your phone, that there will be a period of silence while we wait for that input to come in. And I really look forward to seeing the questions come in. And I see one already, and it asks, will this mural be painted on site? No, this mural is going to be a tile mural, and it is going to be created of smaller tiles, not large ones. Thank you. I see another question, and that is, will the community have a chance to give input on the design? So right now, that is the biggest part of the process, is you giving us the input on what the theme will be. And then we will then take that to the artist to create the concept design. And then we can come back for review of the concept design after that. But we are just very grateful that you're here today to help give us that theme so that we can move forward. I have a comment that says perfect timing. This portion of the San Pedro Creek Culture Park is scheduled to open in late October, early November. Thank you very much for that comment, and I'm so happy to see that the San Pedro Creek Culture Park is here today. And we are definitely keeping in mind your timeline and having our mural be complete around the time that you're opening, so that the construction area is remained safe. I see a question about the historic brick and stone. Will the mural cover any of that or the windows? That is a great question. Thank you very much for asking. No. So we are only looking at this red square right here, which is about 15 feet tall by 25 feet wide. This was an addition that was created in around 2012, 2013, and it is stucco on this wall. So this area of the historic brick and stone will not be touched in any way, and neither will any of the parts of the window. I have a question that says, there's a lot of art that looks like the history and settlers along the San Pedro Creek Culture Park. How will this be different? So some of the themes that we had suggested the community might be interested in was the military history of Plaza de Armas, including the military settlers and their family, Plaza de Armas' use as a bustling market and commercial corridor, and then the current uses of the building. So those are the three that we had thought from our scoping, and then we have that other option. So if you do think that the history aspect of settlers, as is seen in San Pedro Creek, is a very similar concept, then we would love for you to take our survey and suggest a different theme. I see a comment that says, I like the idea of the civilian marketplace being featured in the mural. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that comment. I see a comment that the pictures are amazing and the history of Plaza is so rich and something we should preserve. I think it would be nice to have a mural representing that. Thank you. How does the mural get bid on, and how does an artist get chosen to work on the mural? So the Department of Arts and Culture does have a pre-qualified list of artists that we put out every year, where artists are able to apply to be on that list. Once the application is closed, it is taken to our Public Art Committee, our Arts Commission, and then approved by the San Antonio Arts Commission. From that, we have an artist selection panel with an Public Arts Committee member or commissioner. We have a community representative, a subject matter expert, and an artist gets selected from the shortlist based off of that. We do not have bids for the mural. I see a comment that says, a happy, colorful, beautiful market scene would be amazing. Thank you very much for that. Question, is it possible to make the mural in black and white or sepia, sort of a nod to the historic photos that tell the space's story? Thank you for that comment. That is great. And we are keeping all of these comments and questions in our record, and we will be sure to note that suggestion. Is the tile mural able to get repaired if a tile gets damaged? Yes, it is. I see a question or a comment that says, I'm excited to hear all the ideas that the Arts Committee has already suggested. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that comment. This is great. I really appreciate this very active and lively discussion. Thank you so much. Please keep them coming. Oh, great. Thank you so much. I see that the 1718 San Antonio Founding Families is here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. After this presentation, I will share the recording along with the survey opportunity for you to share with the rest of your nonprofit. Thank you again so much for that. I think it would be cool to see an arrangement of different activities that the location had going on implemented in the mural. Thank you for that comment. I really liked that example. I can go back. I liked the example of the history of the Philadelphia Fire Department. I think it did a great job of showing different activities, and I very much appreciate that comment, and I will be sure to share that with the selected artist. I have a question of, will local artists be considered? And yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question. So there is a question of repeating the expected mural size. So we're looking at a mural that is going to be about 15 feet tall by 25 feet wide, and is located specifically on the stucco addition portion. I have a comment of, I love the idea of something colorful that speaks to the marketplace, as I hope it will draw in visitors to the space and lead them to discover other arts and culture spaces and assets in the area. Thank you for that comment. I have a question of, how long would a tile mural take versus painted? So that really just kind of depends on the tile manufacturer. For a tile mural, you're able to take the artist's design from a high resolution photograph, and then they can get printed directly on the tiles. And that typically takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And then a painted mural depends on if it's painted directly on the wall surface, which in this location is really not possible due to the construction in the area, and also the elements can cause a delay in then maintaining a painted mural as well, and then versus on polytab, which could potentially take the same amount of time, if not longer, as the tiles. Comment, I love the idea of the tile, and how can this tile mural be set apart from the nearby tile murals of San Pedro Creek? Thank you very much for that comment. So for this mural, we're looking at having much smaller tiles and almost kind of mimicking the brick in a way. So they would be a lot smaller to create this pattern, almost like a mosaic, but a little bit different. And I know that the ones at San Pedro Creek are a little bit larger. So we are trying to set it apart that way. And then also having these small tiles can make it seem a little bit like a jewel. It's a very small mural, so we really want people's eyes to be drawn to that. And then at the same time, it could be a nice nod to the historic brick, I hope. I think that the tile mural is very appropriate for this building, and I would like to see lots of color in the tiles themselves. Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. The Chili Queens and food history would be fun. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, as we saw in the historic photos, that was a very huge part of the area. Question, the idea of the tiles lend themselves to puzzle or coloring books. Will there be an educational component about the mural directed at young people? Thank you very much for that question. At this time, that is something that we could consider. We do have a coloring book of public art in our collection right now that we do bring out to a lot of in-person engagement events. So thank you for that. Thank you all so much. This is a very lively group, and I appreciate you being here on this evening. I see that. I hope that the mural will have all different ethnic groups in it, including Native Americans, Blacks, and etc. Thank you for that. We will pass that along. And then I see a comment that says, I hope the mural, or sorry, how else can the community participate in this process? This is fun. We have a newsletter on our website, and we have a number of different community engagement events for different projects, depending on what different stage they're in. And we really appreciate that you think that the process is fun and taking your time to be here tonight. So I'm not seeing any more questions. Oh, a comment. I agree. I would like to see diverse people depicted. Great, thank you. I'm not seeing any more questions or comments at this time, but I will read them out if I see them. So again, I just want to let everybody know that we have our online survey in addition to this meeting, and we hope that you take it. It can be found at the link here on the slide and in the chat. And when I follow up with you all, the link will be included there as well. And our survey did open on February 23rd, and it will close on March 18th. You can email me directly at jordanpetrius@sanantonio.gov, or my number is listed 210-207-1434. Please note that the window to provide feedback through the survey or in an email to me does close on March 18th, and we will post a final report for the community input on March 25th. Again, you will receive a follow-up email, and thank you very much for joining us virtually tonight, and I look forward to hearing your input. And I did see one last comment that came in that said, thank you for doing this. It will be different from San Pedro Creek, and thank you for that comment as well. And I look forward to hearing your input. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us.